Hello, everyone, once again. This is Rob, and welcome back to Media Awareness and another first reaction video. Before I continue, however, a quick reminder that the fundraiser continues. For those of you unaware, I am a disabled individual, and I use a motorized wheelchair slash scooter all day, every day for my independence, and I need your help. My insurance will not cover anything with regard to my scooter as they view it as a quote luxury item end quote, despite the fact that it is all I'm able to use. I only have use of one hand, so I'm unable to use a standard wheelchair, and I'm also unable to use any other type of scooter other than what I currently use. So, I'm reaching out to you, my YouTube community, for your assistance. Below the title of this video in the description, you'll find the Spot Fund account linked. You can contribute there. It's actually linked in two places in the description, directly below the title, as well as in a separate section below the information regarding this video. And it is imperative that I have the parts necessary to keep my scooter functioning at its optimum level. I recently discovered and was made aware that my wheelchair van is no longer operable whatsoever. Essentially, it won't work. So, all I have left is my wheelchair scooter, and I'm unable to walk whatsoever. So, this is my sole means of independence in my everyday life. And without my scooter, I'm pretty much a fish out of water and reliant on people to transport me from point A to point B, and that's not very easy. Additionally, I do not have a backup scooter, so this is all I have, and I have to keep it going as long as humanly possible. So, with all that stated, any and all help is welcome. I do want to extend a gracious thanks to those who have contributed thus far, in addition to those who plan on contributing, as their contributions have and are going to make a world of difference in my life in terms of me sustaining my current level of independence and uh, keeping me above water in terms of my overall view on life itself and my peace of mind. As I'm trying not to be too down on the fact that my van is no longer in running condition, and having my scooter being my only means of going to and fro at this point in time is really of a prime significance in my life. I pride myself on my independence. I thrive on my independence, and I want to remain that way. So, thank you to everyone once again. I love you all. You're all wonderful people. You can contribute as stated to the Spot Fund account. Link below. It's easy to do. Takes a few seconds, and I really appreciate what you can do. So this is rather exciting for me. David Bowie is my all-time favorite singer slash songwriter slash performer, and uh, despite the fact he's no longer with us, his music lives on and always will. And for those of you who are unaware, the song "Under Pressure," which I'm going to be reacting to, was originally recorded by David Bowie and Queen, and it was a huge hit for both actually. And in the 1990s, it was illegally sampled by Vanilla Ice. Now, I have run into some people in the fairly recent past who did not know that the bass line of Ice Ice Baby had come from Under Pressure. They thought it was strictly something that Vanilla Ice had done, and they had never heard Under Pressure. So, this is sort of a cautionary tale to you youngsters, always get permission to use someone's material or you will get sued and lose your career potentially, which is what happened to Vanilla Ice because he did not obey the rules of music. That being stated, this was originally done by David Bowie and Queen, as stated, sampled by Vanilla Ice for Ice Ice Baby, and then years later, David Bowie started performing it as part of his set list for the Outside tour initially. Now, how we get there, I want to explain this to all of you who are unaware. In the late 1980s, early 1990s, David Bowie had formed the band Tin Machine with the Sales brothers, Tony and Hunt Sales, as well as guitarist Reed Gabrels. And they were an amazing band. They only did 2 studio albums, both of which I do have, and the second of which is really hard to find. It's not even available on Spotify. If you're lucky to find it, I really would highly recommend picking it up at any price. It is a priceless CD, and I'm really pleased to have it as part of my CD collection. I digress, though. Following the tours for both Tin Machine albums, the original self-titled and the second album, Tin Machine 2, the band disbanded following touring, and David Bowie released the album Black Tie White Noise, and after that, he started working with producer Brian Eno once again, and the resulting album was titled Outside. Now, in between this time frame, he had done the Buddha of Suburbia and some other recordings here and there, a track for Cool World, but nothing really that was a definitive collection of new material by him until the album Outside. Now, I was fortunate enough to see David Bowie for the Outside tour, and Nine Inch Nails were the opening act. It was an incredible experience. Trent Reznor did 4 duets with David Bowie prior to Bowie's set beginning, and at the end of the Nine Inch Nails set. So Nine Inch Nails was technically the opening act for David Bowie for this tour, which was quite amazing to behold. And this was at the height of Nine Inch Nails' success following their breakthrough after Woodstock 94. And I was a huge fan of both, and I still am. But I was there to see both David Bowie and Nine Inch Nails, and to see them do duets together was amazing. That being said, the reason I bring this up as well is because I saw the show in Hershey, Pennsylvania prior to the release of the Outside album. It hadn't been released yet. We had a single snippet that was released of the track The Heart's Filthy Lesson, but that's all we had as fans. So once the album came out, Bowie had continued touring for the album and really had a lot of success overseas, with it more so here in the States. And during the early 1990s, while on tour with Tin Machine, David Bowie had done a final greatest hits tour, and he had swore never to perform these hit songs ever again. He'd gotten burned out on them, and you can't blame the guy. So a lot of people were a bit jaded by that. But when I saw Bowie live in Hershey for the Outside tour, I was extremely surprised to hear versions of older songs that were not hits that were being performed. Joe the Lion from the album Heroes, The Man Who Sold the World, a reworking of that track done in a more modern manner, in industrial manner, along with the Andy Warhol song from Hunky Dory, and there was a few more songs sort of sprinkled along the set list from his classic catalog, but nothing that were really notable hits. And I don't think he did Under Pressure when I saw him live. I really don't. I don't recall it being done. I recall loving every song I heard and loving everything I heard from the new album, despite the new album not being released. And I went specifically to see David Bowie and Nine Inch Nails, but also to hear this new material that I knew would be being performed, and to hear it before the album's release. And I loved it. I'm one of those people who loves new songs, new material. I don't go to see a band to hear a montage of their greatest hits. I want to hear new stuff. And that's what I got during that show. And I was extremely ecstatic. I was able to then see Bowie once again for his final tour, the reality tour. And at that point in time, he had gradually begun introducing hits back into the set list. So much so that the set actually began with Rebel Rebel. And he went through that, China Girl, just a slew of hits, All the Young Dudes. He did just an array of his hits along with some newer tracks as well. But there were more hits at that point. And it was a great show. It really was. I preferred the 1995 show, but the later show was also just as memorable. And being it was Bowie's last tour, I'm so glad I had the opportunity to see him for that specific tour itself. You can also get that tour on DVD and Blu-ray as well as audio CD. Once again, that's the reality tour. But going back a few years, in the 1990s, he was gradually including some classic songs, and Under Pressure happened to be one. And I've heard and seen performances with Gail Ann Dorsey singing the parts of Freddie Mercury opposite David Bowie. So this isn't really a first reaction, but I haven't seen this particular performance, so it is a first reaction. And she is not only an amazing vocalist, but an amazing bass guitarist, and I'm looking forward to actually experiencing this first reaction to this particular performance. This was captured at Radio City Music Hall for the GQ Awards in 1997. And I believe at that point in time, David Bowie was on tour for his Earthling album. But I have rambled long enough. This music is in this video is brought to you by our friends Music from the Heart, a channel I highly recommend subscribing to here on YouTube. They have some amazing material on that channel, and it is all great quality, and it is all superb. Definitely subscribe, like it, and share it. You won't be sorry. Also consider subscribing to my channel, becoming part of the ever-growing YouTube family that is Media Awareness. So, without further ado, let us all experience David Bowie doing Under Pressure, featuring Gail Ann Dorsey on co-vocals and bass guitar. And I'll be back after this performance with my assessment.
Gail Ann Dorsey. Gail Ann Dorsey on vocals.
So that was an incredible performance of Under Pressure, featuring Gail Ann Dorsey on bass guitar and co-vocals alongside the legendary David Bowie. And once again, that song was originally recorded and performed by Queen and not Vanilla Ice. And it was illegally sampled by Vanilla Ice. And David Bowie would perform this song with Gail Ann Dorsey up until his final tour. They made it part of the set list for all those years, from roughly 1995 onward, and it was really a special, thing. It was a nice tribute in ways to Freddie, and also really just a great song and a great vibe. This is one of those songs that never ages, really. It has a timeless quality about it. And when you experience something that's so profoundly moving and timeless, it has its own charm. And that's what this song really is. It's charming. It really is. And it showcases the incredibly powerful vocals of both David and Gail. And I really wish I could have seen them again. Unfortunately, during the reality tour, as many of you may be aware, David suffered a heart attack and stopped performing. But then, surprisingly, an album was released a few years before his passing, entitled The Next Day. And The Next Day is one of my favorite David Bowie albums. And every song on The Next Day just is so incredible. And it was the perfect comeback album after years of not releasing material. He did not tour for this album, unfortunately. And after releasing his final album entitled Black Star, a few days later, David passed away. And it was only a few days after his birthday as well. So there's a lot of feelings for me watching this and experiencing this, and makes me want to cover some more David Bowie material. I might delve into some of the Tin Machine material and give you guys a taste of what Tin Machine is like. If you like that, let me know in the comment section below. Or what else you'd like me to react to from David Bowie. I've seen a vast majority of the released material, and I do have a lot of unreleased stuff that was professionally shot um, in my collection here of David Bowie memorabilia. But David Bowie is one of those performers that will live on, I think, in all of our memories as one of the greatest singer-songwriters of all time. And Under Pressure is a perfect example of the marriage of the rock and roll of David Bowie and the styles of Queen at that point in time, um, as they were working on the Hot Space album when they recorded Under Pressure. So if you're familiar with Queen's Hot Space, you'll know where this is coming from that time frame. And in terms of Queen's material, it was featured in a lot of their performances for the double duty on vocals for this particular track when he sang it. But as seen here, when David did it, he featured Gail, and Gail is amazing. She is just amazing vocalist, amazing bass guitarist, and just really, really talented vocally, musically, just outstanding. I feel privileged to be able to bring you this reaction, as I really love David Bowie, if you haven't been able to tell from my knowledge and vast ramblings here. But I've just idolized him and his ability to push musical boundaries and always stay relevant. And even now, several years after his passing, he's still relevant musically, and his music will always live on and inspire future generations, in my humble opinion. So, this is Rob with Media Awareness, and I hope you enjoyed this highly informative reaction video of David Bowie and Gail Ann Dorsey performing Under Pressure at the GQ Awards in 1997 during the Earthling tour. And I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Have a wonderful morning, noon, or night wherever you are. Take care. Bye.